Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are absolutely cracking the code on a piece of South Korean official guidance. It's this simple digital note titled Say Memo, or New Memo. Now, at first glance, you might think, okay, it's just a list of links. But honestly, it is literally the foundational toolkit for setting up your entire life in South Korea. If you've been wanting to figure out the administrative scaffolding of living in this incredible country, without getting totally bogged down on all the bureaucratic nightmare stuff, well, you are in exactly the right place.
So, let me ask you a direct question right off the bat. Are you ready to navigate South Korea? Look, whether you're a future expat dreaming of that move to Seoul, maybe a student gearing up for a semester abroad, or a professional heading over for a big career jump, the sheer amount of administrative paperwork can honestly seem completely daunting, right? Like, where do you even begin? How do you make sure you're legally compliant, properly registered, and digitally secure? Well, that is exactly the narrative journey we are going on today. We're going to look strictly at the most essential official portals you absolutely need to know, simplifying what can usually feel like a totally overwhelming process.
Okay, let's dive into this. What's brilliant about the Say Memo is that it doesn't waste any time with fluff. It gives you exactly 3 critical official resources, nothing more, nothing less. By isolating just these 3 specific official portals, this memo gives you a highly focused, no-nonsense starting point. It completely strips away the noise and basically says, hey, here are the 3 core pillars of your administrative life in Korea.
To make this journey super efficient, here's our roadmap. We're breaking down the memo chronologically. First, navigating immigration and residence. Second, the Resident Registration Act. Third, protecting personal information. And finally, your life in Korea.
All right, Part 1. Navigating immigration and residence, your first step.
So, before you can live securely or register locally, you actually have to officially arrive, right? The very first official guidance link provided in the memo takes you straight to Hi Korea. This is the official guidance portal for Korea Immigration and Residence Services. If you're a foreigner entering Korea, consider this your digital front door. This isn't just some helpful secondary resource, this is the essential, absolute must-have tool you need for legally entering, securing your visa, and maintaining your legal status in the country. It's exactly where you go to book appointments for your residence card, what used to be formerly known as the Alien Registration Card. It's where you check your visa expiry date, and it's where you apply for extensions. This portal literally dictates your legal ability to step foot and remain on Korean soil. It is the absolute, non-negotiable prerequisite step 1 of your expat journey.
Moving on to Part 2, the Resident Registration Act, settling in.
Once you've successfully navigated entry, the whole narrative focus shifts. You've arrived. Awesome. But now you need to establish a legal daily presence. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact difference between the first 2 links in our memo. Think of it this way. Immigration Services is hyper-focused on your arrival, your visa, and your basic right to be in the country. The Resident Registration Act, on the other hand, focuses on your legal identity within the community itself and your continuous daily presence. It's the official transition from being a visitor who just touched down to becoming an official, documented resident who's actually settling down into a specific neighborhood and plugging into local domestic systems.
The memo gives us this incredibly explicit, vital instruction. Read Official Guidance on Korea Resident Registration Act. It directs you straight over to the English service of the Korea Legislation Research Institute to read the actual law itself. Now, you might be wondering, why is bookmarking and understanding the specific guidance such a vital necessity? Well, because the Resident Registration Act is what actually allows you to exist within the domestic system. You literally cannot function there long-term without it. This registration connects directly to securing a long-term housing lease, opening a domestic bank account, signing up for a local cell phone plan, and tying into local administration. So understanding this guidance, it means understanding your foundational rights and duties as a permanent local resident. It's absolutely crucial.
All right, on to Part 3, protecting personal information, living securely.
So now that you're legally admitted and officially registered locally, we've reached the 3rd act of our timeline. Let's move to the final link in the memo and see how this builds perfectly upon those previous 2 steps. You're in the country, you're registered in the system, which inherently means your data is now out there floating around. And that brings us to the official guidance on Korea Personal Information Protection. It directs you straight to the PIPC, the Personal Information Protection Commission. The inclusion of this link completes our triad because, you aren't just a physical resident anymore, you are a digital resident.
Look, South Korea is one of the most highly connected, digitally integrated societies on the entire planet. From instant banking transfers to integrated healthcare records, ordering your midnight food delivery, or even simply verifying your age online just to use a basic web service, absolutely everything requires your personal data. This official guidance details exactly how your digital footprint is safeguarded in Korea. Living in such an incredibly connected society means you absolutely must know your rights regarding data privacy. It's a real game changer. This link isn't just some administrative afterthought. It is your official state-provided resource for ensuring your privacy and security as a resident navigating a really dense digital ecosystem.
Finally, Part 4. Your life in Korea, the complete picture.
We have followed the entire journey, from arriving to registering to securing your data. So, the crucial point here is that this simple little se memo is actually an incredibly effective administrative checklist. Think of it like a giant puzzle, and here are your 3 biggest pieces. 1. Hi Korea gets you in. 2. The Resident Registration Act grounds you locally. 3. Personal information protection secures you digitally. Together, the whole shebang forms the essential foundation for a peaceful, compliant, and totally secure administrative life in South Korea. The source material basically distills what could be an overwhelmingly complex bureaucratic landscape into 3 super clear, actionable, and necessary portals.
Now, what's really interesting about this entire framework is that it leaves the ball entirely in your court. We've cracked the code of the memo together. We know exactly what these 3 official guidances do, and more importantly, why they actually matter for your everyday life. So the big question for you is, how will you manage your residency journey and personal data in Korea? Are you going to use these foundational tools to proactively secure your legal and digital footing? I truly hope this explainer has empowered you with the exact knowledge you need to take that next step with total confidence. Thank you so much for joining me today, and keep learning.